New big board is out, so you know what that means. New list, new numbers, likes, dislikes, overreactions. We got it all for you. It's going to be a fun show. Plus, stock game, green room update. It's going to be loaded. Let's party. Welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast. I'm Tyler Metcalf, joined as always by Tyler Rucker. Rucker, how are we doing?
I get so pumped when you have the little lengthy join. Metcalf, I'm doing great. Doing fantastic. I've got way too much film to get caught up on, and it's already the days zooming by. So what's better than this? We just get chaos this time of the year. It's January, folks. It's movement time. I'm happy. I'm excited. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, hanging in there by a thread, living the dream. But it is over Christmas week when there weren't any games is great because it's like, oh man, I'm so close to getting fully caught up, and then it's like, oh yeah, conference play, and it's like
no
every
chance.
other night we have 20 awesome games going on, and it's just like, oh, I'm drowning. But it's a good problem to have because a lot of this basketball is so much fun, and guys are really starting to pop in a big way, which is almost frustrating. It's a good problem to have, but I need someone to start sucking to make my life a little easier.
Yeah, it's tough because, we always say January is the time where things get really cooking because you're like, okay, conference play, as you hinted, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, this is the time where it's like cement yourself as a legit name. If you're a freshman that's making some noise, like, okay, let's see if it's legit. But all those guys are starting to heat up now, and it's like, well, this is making it even more interesting. And I know everyone will have, eyes down the road on the withdrawal deadline in the 27 class. That's, we'll get there when we get there, but this class is getting even more special by the day. So if you're getting caught up, welcome to the party. We keep telling you to join earlier each year because it's fun around here. But a lot of people are excited. A lot of boards out there floating on the line. A lot of interaction. It's been cool to see.
Yeah, and content continues to flow over at NoCeilingsNBA.com, where you can find our big board. No Ceilings YouTube. We hit that 20,000 mark. You guys are incredible. On to 30, on to 40, on to 50. We keep going. In case you missed it, we got mid-season highlights up over there. I got a handful of film schools going up over there. Just did a really fun episode with Jake Madison on Jeremiah Fears for Rookie Roulette. That's up over there, as well as the podcast feed. Check it all out. It's going to be fun. Let's dive right in. Kicking off this big board. Let me share my screen real quick so people can follow along. Okay, so we're going to go 1 through 5. We're going to go 5 at a time in the first round, 10 at a time through the second. Starting off at number 1, Darren Peterson. Number 2, Cameron Boozer. Number 3, AJ DeBonsa. Number 4, Caleb Wilson. Number 5, Jaden Quaintance. Where do you want to start?
Obviously, we bury the lead a little bit, but it's funny because everyone needs to remember we vote, everyone submits at No Ceilings their top 60. We calculate it, and it takes a couple days to put together everything. I'm not that much of a robot, folks. I can't just pull graphics off in 10 minutes, but no. So it's just funny when we had JQ at 5, and I feel like he had his bad game, and I was just like, oh gosh. And, so it's just, hey, that's how quickly things change here. But I thought Quaintance at 5, I understood because a couple games back, you had the one game against St. John's where it was like, oh my gosh, look at this is what it looks like. But since then, Kentucky's had some rough outings. Bama, took him to the woodshed, and then just lost last night to Missouri, correct? So I'm watching patiently. That's all I'll say about JQ. You two, thoughts?
He was incredible in that St. John's game. I thought he looked kind of bad in that Alabama game, frankly. But it was his second game back, so it's not like or maybe that was his third.
So I always think it's the second, it's the third.
So I'm not like, oh my God, this guy sucks. Like, what an overreaction. Like, sell. Not doing that, giving him a little grace, a little leeway, because he is still getting back into game shape. But I thought he looked tired. I thought the defense was really sloppy. Like, all of the defensive fundamental and physicality and execution stuff that we saw in the St. John's game was totally gone in that Alabama game. And he was playing catch up. Like, his recovery speed and the way that he eats up space, very impressive. But he was having to do that every single time because closeouts are sloppy, positioning, defensive stance, all that kind of stuff was a mess. And just kind of still waiting for what the offense looks like.
I think some people were also quick to be like, oh, this is going to be the savior for Kentucky. And I was like, he is? It's not going to be. It's just not his game. He's 18-year-old sophomore. He's a defensive first big that you keep, his role offensively simple right now. He's not someone you're going to play through all the time. So I think just expectations need to be realistic. But look, I'm waiting a couple months. And if we get another flash like that St. John's game, I'll be like, okay, there we go. Yeah. But I understood it. Our thoughts, other thoughts, top five. We can.
Yeah, and you really buried the lead because we have a new number
everyone's
one.
Waiting for it.
We have a new number one.
New number one, baby.
Darren Peterson jumping up to number one, average ranking of 1.36. Cameron Boozer at 2, average ranking of 2.18. I believe this is the biggest disparity that we've had between 1 and 2 yet. Cam Boozer was previously at 1 for the group at large, not myself, but the group at large. And I think it was like 1.55 to like 1.75 or something like that. It was really close. And then on top of that, AJ DeBonsa, this is his highest ranking so far at 2.55. So and he's right behind Boozer, not that far off from Peterson. Peterson's kind of emerging as the number one guy for the group at large, but I thought it was really interesting how kind of far ahead Peterson has pulled and how close Boozer and AJ have gotten.
Yeah, I mean, it was so volume 2 was 1.54 to 1.62, which is absurdly close. I mean, we've never seen something like that. And then AJ was at 3 at 3.0. So why we wanted to kind of include the average ranking this year is so fans can see how close it is and fans can see just what the movement is. And now you're seeing not only Cam going down to 2, you're seeing AJ's big jump at 3, where it's like, okay, the it's so narrow with these 3 guys. And it's just one of these things where it's like AJ's been playing fantastic basketball. He's really starting to, come into his own as a player. And you could see why everyone's thinking like, hey, he could be a number 1 pick. But you also just see like, hey, as the weeks go by, so does Cam Boozer with those numbers and that production and that just what he means to that team. So we've been hyping all year how special these 3 guys are, and they have lived up to every single bit of it. And it's just going to be exciting to kind of see moving forward. Look, if you're listening, you got a big board, you take this serious, you can have any order. I really do believe that. Yeah. I understand anyone. And I've talked to people around the league, and they're all feel the same. They're like, any order makes sense to me. If you're all in on Boozer, I get it. If you're all in on AJ, I get it. But it was just interesting to see kind of Darren taking that leap despite the health stuff. I think is a very loud endorsement for Darren.
It's crazy that we're putting someone this soft who doesn't like basketball or want to be out there with his teammates at number 1. That's such a wild, irresponsible move by us.
Man.
Not getting into that again. All right. Anything else on this top 5?
No, I think, hey, this is going to be I think this top 4 is going to be really tough to not have those 4 names.
Yeah.
I think Caleb still is fantastic. I think conference play, those numbers are going to come down a little bit as expected, but pumped up to see, Caleb moving forward when we start getting in some heavy hitters. I feel like the Duke game is way too far away. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I feel like I was like, wow, that's really late in the year. I'll look it up in a sec, but it's fun. It's a fun top 5. 5 is, I think, where we could be like, hey, things are going to start getting interesting at that 5th spot.
Totally agree. All right, moving on to 6 through 10. At 6, Kingston Fleming's point guard at Houston. 7, Michael Brown Jr., point guard at Louisville. 8, LeBaron Philon, point guard at Alabama. You're sensing a theme here. Koa Pete, 9, forward at Arizona. 10, Yaxel Lundenberg, forward at Michigan. Where do you want to go?
You started off. Let me know what you're thinking.
And we're here on Yak, so let's just stick with it. Kind of surprised that he is this high, and he's putting up insane numbers. Michigan narrowly avoided disaster against Penn State without Caden Mingo, but they just came out so flat. But Yax is putting up insane numbers, but he's an older guy, so just kind of we don't always negate age over here at No Ceilings. If you can play, you can play. But still a little surprising to see him as high as 10.
I thought it surprised me a little bit. It's not because of how impressive Yax has been. You know, when you're looking at our big board rankings, I think it's always awesome exercise for the team because you get to kind of see the team's mentality. But I think with Yax, it's especially like I feel like that's the comfort level of this class right now, where you could kind of be like, okay, there you start to get a little bit like, well, I don't know who I feel great about.
Yeah.
So like Yaxel, yes, he's older. Are we saying he's going to be the 10th pick in the draft? Probably not. But right now, I think he's playing at that level, and you see why he would be a desired, talent. And I also think, hey, I'm still a believer 1 year, someone's going to be like, okay, we want the guy that's going to come in and be a more plug and play guy, even if it's in the late lottery. But the counter to that is like, well, with a class this deep, potentially, I think he still would want to swing a bit. So, in the next grouping, I think Yax was the biggest standout to me. I was like, whoa, 10's a big number. It's deserved because of how good he's been playing, but still 23-year-old at 10 is a loud endorsement.
And I have him at 12, so I'm not totally off
right.
on this ranking. I'm not in total disagreement. Just as a group at large, I was like, oh, I'll probably be one of the higher guys on him, and it's like, oh no, I'm kind of right in line with everyone else. Let's talk about the guards. I know we just did a big episode last week breaking down most of the guard class in depth. So make sure to go check that out if you missed it. But how do you feel about this order? Kingston, Michael, LeBaron. Do you like those guys in that order this high? Where are you at with this trio at 6, 7, 8?
I mean, I love Kingston. I think the dude is a monster. I think, he's making an argument to go up even more. The biggest thing, and we talked about this in the intro for the big board piece. We talk about it every single year, version, volume, whatever you want to say. Volume 3 for the big board is always movement time, where it's like, okay, the No Ceilings crew is getting caught up. Everybody in the draft space is getting caught up on film, and you really start to get a feel. So like the biggest thing for me when I'm looking at these is like, who's the biggest risers? And Kingston going from 20 to 6, we obviously talked before of like, why is he at 20? And it's like, because I think people hadn't gotten caught up, but now people
don't want to be too
we don't want to jump the gun.
Yes,
yes, which is my favorite thing.
Abdullah had an awesome opening game. He's my third prospect. It's like, well, maybe not.
But exactly, you want to see what's real and what's just a tease. And I think that's my favorite thing with the No Ceilings crew is everyone does such a good job of being like, all right, that was a good game. Let me see another, or let me see some more. Like, let me get a 5-game stretch. Don't want to be too quick to jump the gun. So Kingston's rise has been well-deserved. I think we're really seeing it on display lately. Looked great in that Texas Tech game recently. So I think it's well-deserved up there, but do you have any certain thoughts? You think Michael still needs to be up there?
I still have Michael at 5. I have him. I have him in Kingston back to back, but I have Michael one spot higher. I do think a lot of his numbers are just being so aggressively skewed because of this 3-point percentage.
Yeah,
and I
right.
think a lot of that is, I think you can contribute a lot of it to the growth spurt and figuring out his body again, but also the shot selection. So I'm still more optimistic, I think, with Michael's outside jumper than Kingston's based on the difficulty level, the context of it, the volume of it, and the priors. And Kingston's shooting an insane 44.5% from 3, but it's on at least half the volume. I think the context for it's a little more encouraging, or a little more simple for him than it is with Michael. I just want Michael to come back from this injury, hopefully simplify the shot selection a little bit, clean it up a little bit, because the playmaking's been outstanding. The rim pressure, the scoring versatility has all been outstanding. The defense could use a little work. But I think if he was even just shooting 33% from 3, I think the conversation around him would be a lot different.
I think he could explode up pretty quick. I think he's going to get back on the court, be healthy, and then I think there's an inevitable 5-game stretch where we're all going to look at each other and be like, oh my goodness, have you seen what Michael's doing right now? Look, if he's averaging 16, 3, and 5 with a bad back, oh my, okay.
Yeah.
So, and I'm with you. Like, I've asked around, and teams are very, very high, very excited about him. And it's, everyone sees the numbers. We're all looking at it. But if you watch his film, I think you see someone that you're like, early, some cold games where it's like, hey, he's got a little bit of a heat check early on. He needs to figure that out. But there's in-game adjustments. The playmaking is fantastic. And then we said coming into the year, he needs to really work on his finishing. It's been a big plus for him. So if those numbers start climbing really quick, all of a sudden we're going to be like, oh, this might be, point guard 1. This might be in that conversation.
Well, then, like, just even when you just look at Louisville's offense and how it's operating these last couple of games that he's missed, like, Ryan Conwell's a really good player. I love Ryan Conwell. He's pulling up some fun numbers too, but they're inefficient. And the offense in general is kind of clunky and struggling to find its flow that it had early on. And that's a testament to what Michael meant to them in terms of organizing everything and creating for others and, collapsing the defense and creating advantages for himself and for others. So the 3-point percentage definitely needs to be better, but I think it's also doing a major disservice of kind of not properly allowing us to highlight how good he's been and how important he's been in pretty much every other area. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I completely agree. It's really hard for a guy to stay still when there's so much competitive, depth at that position and he's not playing. So I think he could still go back up once he gets back on the court.
And then just finally with Phylon, I went into more detail, so I don't need to belabor this point, but just I was shocked he was this high. He's having a really fun year. I get it. I like him. That's just a little rich for me.
I have him up pretty high. I have him in my top 10. I was a little shocked that everybody was kind of in that same boat still.
Yeah, looking at the average ranking, I'm like, oh, I might be the low man on Phylon, which is kind of surprising.
I think there's a couple that are pretty low. Look, I get it. It's an acquired taste. But I watched him last year. I kind of got last year watching him throughout the year. I was like, I don't know if this is a one and done, but this might be a sophomore breakout guy. And then I kind of got caught up on his stuff late in the year, and I was like, okay, I would be pretty in at some point. I'd be pretty excited. And then, going in the offseason, I was like, this is my dream to get me really in on Phylon. And he's checked all those boxes. And I think he's had to carry a lot of that offense. So I think he's been great this year. But with this guard class, it just might be like, hey, he might be going late lottery instead, just because of how much competition and what's your team and what's your style, But I think Phylon's fantastic. So I still was like really shocked that he was at 8.
All right, let's go on to 11 through 15. That's how numbers work. At 11, Hans Steinbeck, forward center from Washington. At 12, Darius Acuff, point guard at Arkansas. 13, Braylon Mullins, wing at UConn. 14, Nate Ament, forward at Tennessee. And 15, Thomas Houck, forward at Florida. What stood out?
Acuff at 12?
Too low? Too high?
You know what? I thought it was perfect. Now, Arkansas fans, stay with me for a sec. He's going up in a hurry, but we just talked about this with Kingston Flemings. This is my favorite thing with No Ceilings is people aren't too quick to just be like, Acuff's playing great. We got to pump up 5. I think people are like, no, he was 22nd last board. He's now at 12. Going up 10 is a huge deal. Like, that's... Usually don't see that with the No Ceilings crew, like everyone just really skyrocketing a guy. So that's a loud endorsement of how quickly he's trending up. I would not be shocked if he still goes up, but it's also just, I have him at 9.
Okay.
I love what I've seen.
I have him at 8. So he's my point guard 3 behind Flemings and Brown. So it's been insane.
Way too many guards in my lottery, but I also keep looking and I'm like, it feels wrong, but then I keep looking at it all the time and I'm like, they've been the best players. So and they look like some of the best talent. So I'm like, well, it feels okay. I'm going with what I feel. So look, I've got Acuff behind Phylon. I was a big Phylon guy coming into the year. Right now, it's an inner battle right now because I'm liking what I've seen from Acuff a lot, and just seems like every single game, I'm like, gosh, he did it again. He did it again. So I really like, I think he's just been great. Can you talk to me about Hans?
Yeah. What do you want?
I like him. Struggling a little bit. Like it's just a weird like hesitation right now that I'm like, why do I have that hesitation? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I have him at 19, so a little lower than this, not too far. And he's someone I've had as high as 10 at some points, and I just kind of keep bouncing him around, trying to find the spot that feels right. Still don't think I found it. Like the rebounding is just so freaking dominant, and then there's some really fun passing stuff that I wish we could see him explore a little more, like out of the short roll from the top of the arc. I think I buy the shot long term on low volume. I think it'll be good enough. But the defense is where I struggle. And it's not that he's a bad defender, he's just a really slow and unexplosive defender. So I think he's generally pretty good with his positioning, with his footwork, defending with a high hand, trying to be as disruptive and in position as he can be. But I think there are just some physical, like some real physical limitations that are going to, that could be a potential detriment to what his ultimate defensive ceiling looks like.
Look, bigs are tough. They're really tough evaluations. I think they're right up there with point guards. They're like tough evals because I think bigs could be even harder when you're projecting because I think it's like, hey, if I'm going to put a big, and I had a scout tell me this, and I was like, that's a great philosophy. That's going to stick with me. And it was like, hey, if I'm going to have a big in my lottery top 10, I'm then saying like I think he could be a big you can't find every year.
Yeah.
And at some point, I look at some bigs and I'm like, okay, look, Hans is great. He's a monster offensively. I love him on the boards. If he's not going to be an elite defensive stopper or just a strong defensive asset at the next level, it's like, well, where do I draft that?
Right. Like say he peaks as just a league average defender. Like his absolute peak, that's what he is on defense. What does he have to do on the offensive end to make that worth a top 10 pick?
I mean, you're probably saying he's got to be a beast on the boards. He's got to be
like, does he have to be Şengün? Is that the threshold?
Right.
Or
I can't get Hartenstein out of my head, and I'm like, where am I drafting Hartenstein? And so I have him at 15, and I feel like if I needed a big, and I had a 15th pick, and Steinbach was there, I'd probably be ecstatic. But it's like, do I take that higher than that? It's nothing against Hans. It's also like I'm having some doubt. Like I need to watch him closer because I'm like, is it maybe the Washington fit I don't love? You know what I'm trying to say? Like
I'm not sure.
That's just what I do with bigs. Yeah.
And I think they have some fun perimeter players and stuff. I don't know. It's just he's such a funky player, and he's so dominant. Like his elite skill is something that translates every single level of competition that you move up, and he is so clearly an elite rebounder. It's like, all right, at the very least, I know he's going to be a monster on the defensive and offensive boards. Plus, we get all these flashes, and it's like, all right, is this just another guy I'm overthinking and focusing too much on what he potentially can't do instead of focusing on what he does at an elite level?
And I will say this also, there's about 3 or 4 guys every single cycle. You just sit and overthink. You just sit and kind of like, well, and it might be one where you just kind of put them in the same range all year, and you're like, I kind of want to move them around, and you're just like, well, why am I over tinkering with this?
Yeah,
and it's why I like talking to so many people about the draft, because you get stuck on a guy where you're like, I need a refresher. Can you tell me why you like him? And then all of a sudden you hear, and you're like, that's why. And as you just said that, like we always say, rebounding translates. What's Hans's elite skill? Rebounding. It's like, okay, that should be a good one to bet on. So. Thank you. That helps.
I do want to mention Ament. We don't need to go deep. I still don't get it.
You're not alone.
I know I'm not. I've talked to a couple NBA people who have been like, why is he a this year guy? Which is tough. And I ripped the Band-Aid off, dropped him into my mid-20s this last one. He has another month of what he's been doing. Won't shock me if I drop him again. The idea is great. That's all it's been, though. is just an idea. The defense is fine. He'll make a couple, like 1 or 2 really nice passes a game, and then they'll disappear. The shot hasn't been there. I think his effective field goal rate the other day when I looked was 45, maybe give or take on that. So, but it was really bad. So all of his production is coming from these crafty fouls that he's drawing in the mid range. And if that's the only way you're getting buckets, I really worry about it. Like if he was compensating that, or the one of the arguments that I've seen or heard is, oh well, AJ gets fouls in there all the time. It's like, well, yeah, but AJ's also getting to the rim a lot. AJ's also knocking down these step back jumpers. AJ's also creating for other teammates. Amen isn't doing any of that on top of it. It's only these fouls in the mid range. So he's got a big uphill to climb, and it's just been unfortunate.
Yeah, it's it's every concern I had coming into the year with Nate when everyone was saying like he should be in the top 5 conversation. And I was like, there's a loud amount of concerns on tape. Like, what are we?
Everything I'm watching says otherwise.
Yeah, and then and I'm not tooting my own horn because people can go find, like me and you have said plenty of times, like we're hoping we're wrong, but there's just loud concerns. Like your build as the shooter, you're shooting 28% from 3. I'm watching you multiple games. You got wide open looks. They're not even close. We can say, hey, it's at the weight gain. Is it him relearning mechanics? Is it what? Okay, you can say that fine, but we're also getting to a point where we're like, hey, we're almost more than halfway into the year. You've had plenty of reps. You're shooting also at practice. You're like, you got to be getting wide open looks. You got to be getting it pretty close. So I'm gonna be patient as possible. I will say this though, talking to NBA teams, they're lower, they're concerned, but the same thing you continue to hear is that skill set will get someone to swing. And my response is why? Because like what you're gonna take this just because of the idea, and I think that's where you get in trouble. So I'm being patient with Nate, but I think there's just like, hey, I'm at DEFCON 2 right now. Like it's like, hey, I'm getting close to really being out, like all out.
Okay, let's move on. 16 through 20. At 16, Bennett Sturts. 17, Chris Senek Jr. Bennett Sturts, point guard, Iowa. Chris Senek, forward at Houston. Tunde Yesfu, guard at Baylor. Keaton Wagler, guard at Illinois. And Neo Avdalas, wing at Virginia Tech. Where do you want to go?
Spicy group. You hit lead off. Let's go. What are you thinking?
Where you at with Sturts? Because I got to see him in person the other night, battling an illness. I go into more detail about the game and my takeaways and stuff over at NoCeilingsNBA.com. Game recap should be up on Friday midday. Check it out for Plus subscribers. Where you at with Sturts?
Getting a little cold. Film I wanted to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Sturts can play. Look, Sturts could play. I had him really high in the beginning of the year. I was buying into like, hey, he's going to prove everyone wrong. He's going to be fantastic. I love this Drake stuff. Getting caught up on it last year was one of my favorite films. But not seeing as much versatility, I feel like, on tape. It's brutal. I wish he had some help, but in all respect to the Iowa Hawkeyes roster and fan base, but he screams like a plus asset rotation guard to me.
Yeah.
And it does not help Sturts' case right now that this class is stacked. I will say I think teams are much lower on him. That's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
He's tough because I love him.
And he grades out really well in analytical models. Always has, probably always will.
Yes.
But then, and he just really struggles to get to the paint. But that's also where the context comes into play, where teams are daring anyone else on Iowa to beat them from the perimeter, and they just can't. So every time he tries to drive, he's facing really aggressive gap coverage. He did. I think that second half against Minnesota was the best he's looked, getting downhill and getting into the paint, drawing fouls. And he was a non-factor in that first half, ended up with 20 plus. In the second half, went to the line 10 times. So I was like, okay, this is more of what I want to see. I also think he's just going to be one of these guys that looks so much better in an NBA setting
Yes.
where there's anyone else on the team who can consistently create on ball, who can swing it to him for some easy spot up jumpers. And his jumper is gorgeous. It is so pretty. So I think this year is going to be a little rough, but if I could grab him in like the late teens or early 20s, I'd be really excited about that because I think at worst he's going to be a good backup point guard, and someone who can really benefit from NBA spacing and having other on ball creators alongside with him.
Look, if you like Sturts, like don't shy away from it. If you like Sturts from here, it's like we're gonna be wrong on guys, but I think just the range for me has changed. I'm with you. Like if I was a playoff team, I'd really like Sturts in the rotation because I also think he could be a redraft guy where we're like, what? Gosh, Sturts just rocks.
Yeah,
he's just a big fit guy. I think if he lands with the right place, it's going to be like, oh, well, Sturts could blow up, and we could be like, Sturts comes off the bench and just bombs away in the NBA with spacing and everything, and it's fantastic. But he's fascinating, and I wanted to look into this, but I need to figure out how to make a week 10 days instead of 7 days. So how slow they play, I'm just going to be so fascinated to see how it translates to the NBA. Like, is it just going to be chaos factory, or is Sturts going to just love that? But he's you can't leave him to shoot because he's such a monster. But it just seems like a lot right now. It's just like, well, he's just pulling from wherever he wants, or he's running around until he can get open. And it's just like, okay, there's a lot of times where I'm like, gosh, the offense seems like it's like, hey, either Sturts shoots it or we're screwed. So it's like he's just running around like a Tasmanian devil until he gets 4 handoffs, and then he's like, okay, pull away. So it's like, I don't know. It's just funky to me, but he can shoot the crap out of the ball.
If you're worried about him playing with pace, I would highly recommend Minnesota tried to play zone like one possession against Iowa, and I believe the Iowa Hawkeye basketball Twitter account tweeted this possession out. So go try and find it there. But they went zone, and it was like 15 passes in a matter of 20 seconds with 0 dribbles, and it was zipping all over the place. Every time the ball touched Sturts' hand, it was out within half a second. And he's such a quick processor, quick decision maker, sees the floor really well. And just like seeing that possession live is like, oh God, this is different. Minnesota didn't play much zone after that.
Last thing I'll say, I'm not out on Sturts.
No, neither am I.
It wouldn't shock me if he plays tenure in the NBA. Yeah. I don't know if he's just someone you're taking lottery with this class. That's my biggest thing. I still like Sturts. I just think the range is getting a little bit more realistic.
Yep. Chris Senek, Tunde Yesufu, 2 guys who kind of seem to be steadily falling. Keaton Wagler going the other direction. This kind of feels like the right range now for Avdilas. Late teens, early 20s. I think makes a little more sense. It's just still really frustrating how quick he is to pick up his dribble. Anything else from you on these guys?
Wagler rocks. Shout out to our own Stephen Gillespie. Just put up a piece on Wagler today at NoCeilingsNBA.com. It was fantastic as always. I love him. I absolutely love him. I think I've got him at like 11.
I'm up into 13 with him.
I think he's going to be a darling. If he keeps playing like this, I think teams are just going to be pumped. Neo's tough, and there's getting some weird Jaeger Neo comps, and just miss me with that. I don't think those are in the same galaxy. So I think one played a much tougher competition than the other. Neo just needs stop it. Big 12, stop it.
No, like in conference play, but like to this point, Jaegor's non-conference last year was a joke.
I know everyone. I remember all of them. I remember all of the doubters, but I get it. But I also think Jaegor's at least a little bit more. Yeah, Neo's getting some loud questions, I think. So I think this is the right range, though. I think that's fine.
Okay.
Wouldn't shock me if an NBA team likes him a lot more, though, because I get 6'9", 215 floor spacing passer. I get it.
Alrighty. 21 through 25. At 21, Christian Anderson, point guard, Texas Tech. 22, Cam Carr, wing at Baylor. 23, Pat Ngongba, center at Duke. 24, Kareem Lopez, forward wing with the New Zealand Breakers. 25, Isaiah Evans, wing, Duke. Where do you want to go?
This is a really spicy range. I didn't realize till we're on the air. I need to get caught up on Kareem. I guess that's what I should do tonight. I'm not going to tell my wife that. Every time I'm looking for Tunde stuff, I all of a sudden just notice, wow, Cameron Carr just keeps plugging along, keeps playing good. How can he get
mid-teens?
I think so too.
I think there's a pretty real ceiling. Really fun player. But
he's everything I'd want in a off-ball, after Mullins, if I'm looking for that archetype, he plays so hard.
Yeah.
If you could get me 15 pounds on over a couple of years, if you give me 15 pounds on Cameron Carr, he'd be a problem.
He's kind of doing what I hoped Aristode would do.
There you go. That hits so hard and hurts so much.
It does. It really does.
I had Arizona Wildcats fans in the comments mad about me having Aristode in the second round. I was like, look, man, we don't have to do this. But you're right. I mean,
you guys should have seen where I had him 2 months ago.
You think that's aggressive? I just it's just cool to see. You don't see this a lot with guys that transfer. This is the best, sales pitch for the portal. Look at Cameron Carr this year. Guy just playing with joy, and he's playing so hard. He does not play like he's 175 pounds. That's all I got. Any thoughts? Pat's tough.
That's tough. I have to alienate a lot of draft Twitter here.
Sorry for everyone listening. We have to give a shout out to draft Twitter because we love them.
What am I missing? I don't get it.
It goes back to the Hans argument. And this one's tough because people are going to hear me and be like, you don't like Pat. And it's like, well, it's actually the opposite. I loved Pat last year. I thought he was the best big on the roster. I was like, they need to play Pat more. But the more I'm watching him, he looks like a guy that has multiple lower body injuries.
Yeah.
So as a rim protector, yeah. As a playmaker, his numbers do not suggest how good of a passer he is. Yeah. In the right system, he could cook. Sorry to my knight in shining armor, Deron Holmes, but Pat backing up Jokic, that seems fun. Pat with the right team, if, with the Celtics, maybe with the late first round pick. Yeah, you have my attention. But I just have questions. I have a lot of questions that are getting louder, so I don't know.
Yeah, and if you're only looking, his advanced numbers are always going to look really fun because he's so efficient. The problem is it's on such incredibly low volume. Just looking at Bart right now, there's a lot of green, rightfully so. BPM 8.0. I'd say Cam Boozer influences a lot of that. Effective field goal rate 67.2. Love that. Offensive rebounding rate 11.9. Defensive rebounding rate 17.7. Assist 15.2. Turnover 19.2. Don't love that. Block rate up to 7.7. Free throw rate 72.4. 72.9% from 2. 29.4% from 3. I never feel any of those numbers though when he's on the court, when he's actually playing. The passes to backdoor cutters from the top of the key, they rock. I love them. Some of the weak side rim protection stuff is very fun once or twice a game. I don't trust him to defend anyone outside of 5 feet. I don't really trust him as an outside shooter. I know the numbers look good early on. The form and the touch were kind of encouraging, but those have dropped off, and it's on low volume. He looks allergic to leaving the restricted area on defense. I don't know. I just really struggle with it. And then the end-to-end foot speed doesn't seem like it's there. He's one of these guys. I don't get it. And I'm really, really trying to buy in and to get the hype, and people who have him top 10. Okay. There are a lot of numbers that can kind of back that up, but I don't see it. And the shot blocking numbers are fun, but a lot of those also come when guys like Cam Boozer and Dame Sarr and Nicholas Semenya wall off drives and he's able to rotate over. Then I'm not sure I trust him as like a primary rim protector who can show and recover and rotate and actually really, really control the paint at an NBA level.
I'd really like him as a piece of the puzzle. I would be scared if I'm wanting him to be like a building block. And I don't mean that as an insult, but like if I'm trying to draft that too early to lean on him a lot,
Yeah.
I think that's where the foundation could break. If I'm getting Pat with a good team that's like, hey, we can really slow the game down for him. But because look, I'm with you. You look at the analytics, fantastic. The numbers,
Yeah.
if you dive, you're like, gosh, man, Pat's numbers are great. And then all of a sudden you watch a couple of games, you're like, just see stuff that I'm like, ugh. And then you see like a couple flashes or game, you're like, oh my goodness. Like just some passes, some reads, some quick decision making. I hate, and look, I'm not reporting anything. I'm not, I haven't asked specifically about this, but it just sometimes on tape I'm watching and I'm like, this looks like a guy that's got old legs. He just doesn't move as much as you're like, gosh, he's 19. He should be moving a little bit better. Yeah. And I'm terrified of him just getting pulled out nonstop on the perimeter. Just like, let's get Pat out here. But I do this every year with Duke bigs, and every year they somehow like start having a second half surge. So I'm not giving up on Pat yet. It's just so weird. But when it's on, I get it. And when people are buying in and being like, hey, maybe he's a lottery guy, I get if you.
Yeah, hey, but when is it on?
I mean, there's shot blocking sequences. The Florida game, he had some moments. You're like, my goodness. There's some passing reads where it's just like the ball. He knows where he's going with it before it even catches his hands. But I'm always wanting more. So like, I have Pat in my 20s. I'd love to get him in my 20s.
I have him late 20s.
Yeah,
so
like
I'm not like out, but and like when you look at that kind of range, and Charlotte at 20 would kind of be the earliest I would consider him. If you bring him in to back up Kalkbrenner or vice versa, I think that would be a really fun center rotation where he wouldn't have to do much and could kind of camp out below the rim. Toronto makes a little bit of sense. Like you said, Denver makes some sense. Detroit, Washington makes some sense, but like, I don't know. I think there are a lot of warts that the numbers don't necessarily show.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to 26 through 30. At 26, welcome to the first round. Joshua Jefferson, forward at Iowa State. 27, Adai Mara, center at Michigan. 28, Ryan Conwell, guard at Louisville. 29, Braden Burries, guard at Arizona. 30, Dame Sarr, wing at Duke.
Burries Hive, stand up, baby. Can we talk about Josh Jefferson first, please?
Yeah, let's.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. There's my Pat. There's the Joker. If Pat Ngongba is Batman, there's Joker. Because every time I'm watching Pat, I'm like, well, I really, really like him. And then I watch Josh Jefferson. I'm like, oh, now Josh Jefferson is a senior. He's 3
years older.
3 years older. So I get it. And I wanted to look this up while you talk, but like watching his film, it is unbelievable how much it's just like, hey, Josh, do whatever you want. Here's the ball. He's like their point guard. It's unbelievable. And you see the numbers and you're like, those are impressive. But I looked this up the other night and I was like, his usage has to be out of this world.
28.
Oh, gosh.
for a big, that's really high. Especially when you factor in an assist rate of 28.1.
But
so, like, if you're trying to find a big who's a real passer, that's him.
Look, I watch him and I'm like, please go to the Celtics. Please go to the Celtics. Like, it's just because it's funny because I was lower on him. I saw him at Players Era and I was like, I don't know, man. And then he made a pass in one of the games. I was like, whoa. Like, it just kind of gets you like, okay, I'm awake. There's the espresso I needed. And he's going cuckoo lately. I mean, it's only the last 2 games, but his last 2 games, he's 14, 13, and 6.5 with 3 steals. He rocks. His playmaking is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he can shoot it a little bit too. So I think it's going to be really interesting with him. And I think the climb's well deserved.
Totally agree. Just feels like the classic guy who is on boards at large in general feels like one of the guys who is just going to inevitably benefit the most from a bunch of freshmen and sophomores withdrawing and going back. And it's like, oh, look, Josh Jefferson's now in my top 20 because he just climbed and there's all this space. But the numbers back it up. And his numbers and tape were awesome last year, but it was like, how real is this with this old man game, this kind of funkiness? I think he's a little more fluid this year too, and just the production's taken yet another step forward. You'd expect that from a 22-year-old, but we said the same thing about Yaxel, and he's doing that similar kind of stuff. We have him up at what was it, 10, and Josh Jefferson is doing a lot of that same stuff. Not quite as prolific from outside, but that jump in production. This is multiple years in the Big 12 now. It's like, how long can we keep going? It's like, is this real? And at a certain point, I think we're just about there. That question has kind of become moot.
He's not the last thing I'll say. Not the greatest athlete. He knows how to throw his body around the basket, and he has some really tough finishes. Like he's, it's one of those. He does it so much, you're kind of impressed of like how to play without that verticality, and he's not just shooting threes. He's pulling from deep. Like there's some like, oh, you got range now. So I want to see what he looks like with another strong month, because if he keeps this up, I'm gonna be like, you can talk to me about Joshua Jefferson in a lot of places.
And like defensively, he's not super explosive, like you said, but his hands are really good. Block rate's only 3.7, but steal rate's up at 3.1. So he's super active with his hands and really.
He's a really smart player. Really smart. You can see, and that's what happens when you stay a couple years of college. Talk to me about your boy Adai Mara, please, because gosh, what a resurgence for the Spaniard.
Yeah, well, I mean, it helps that he's gigantic. BPM 10.3, effective field goal rate 66.3, offensive rebounding rate 10.9, defensive rebounding rate 24.8, block rate 12.2. And he's done such a good job of totally dominating the paint on both ends of the floor, and he absolutely controls it. And not quite against Penn State, but I'm blanking the USC game. They started trying to pull him out and pick and roll a little more, and Michigan had him defend a little bit at the level. And I thought he did a really the best job I've ever seen of him moving his feet in space, keeping the ball to one side of the floor so he wasn't getting in vulnerable situations where he had to flip his hips. And then when he would go to recover, he was recovering with his eyes on the ball, high hands, being disruptive in the passing lane. So we keep seeing guys who are just freaking massive find a spot in the league and carve out some sort of role and do, are they all NBA level? No, but are they really good backups? Yeah. And every time Zach Edey's on the floor with the Memphis Grizzlies, they're so much better than when he's off. I'm not saying Mara can get to that point, because Edey was a walking bucket and had some of the best scoring touch of a guy that size you'll ever see. Don't get that with Mara, but you get the similar rim protection, similar rebounding stuff, and a much better passer. So I just think there's a really important spot for him in a rotation. Is as a starter, maybe, but at very least, like a really good backup. And it's just night and day compared to how I felt about him the last 2 years.
One, I'm going to point out to everybody watching with us, but also for everyone listening, I need to go back and run the numbers, but plus 30 might be the biggest jump in the history of No Ceilings. He was 57th last forward. He's 27th. Mara's been incredible. As an Arizona Wildcats fan, aka a UCLA hater, to see Mara thriving with Michigan this year brings great joy to my life. He's been awesome. I thought there was no chance of the rebirth. I thought he was going to be like a third of what he's been doing this year, and I thought he's going to be like, oh, he's a nice backup, but probably going to play at Michigan another year.
Yeah,
he's been unbelievable. I have a really spicy hot take for you.
Okay.
In January. What if I said Mara was the second big drafted?
Okay. Are you considering Boozer a big?
What if I said Mara was the third big drafted?
Okay.
Sorry.
You could just say no. I'm just trying to clarify what the list looks like.
Yeah. So yes. Sorry, Boozer.
So would that be behind Quaintance?
Yes.
I that's how my board
sort of
looks.
Get it. Now look, this isn't slander at Hans, but your point is so spot on, and I hate doing this, but shout out to Corey because he was onto something with the Zach Edey stuff. And why wouldn't teams look at Mara right now and be like, well, 7'3", 250 passer?
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
watching
the same stuff that we saw with Klingon.
And Klingon, exactly. So like there's a wave right now. You're skilled, you're gigantic. Teams are gonna be like, we have an advantage. And watching Mara in person, you could see it on tape too, but watching it in person, it felt like, multiplied.
Yeah.
It's incredible of like when they run their offense and they're starting it off with him, of what an advantage it is. It's like teams just try to bully Mara, but he's 5 or 6 inches taller than everyone.
Yeah.
And he's just looking over and he's just throwing whip passes to the corner, to the wings. Like it's a unique weapon of like, okay, we can get an advantage down in the post where Mara could just kind of play old school where it's like, hey, let's let him kind of get to the elbow and run, the offense off of him or away from him. So it's a unique weapon that I think some team with a good offensive mind is going to be like, I could have some fun with this. And then he's gigantic and a space eater. So I think he's been great. And I think he's been awesome, and he's going to keep going up.
And just to, potentially quell some emotions from listeners or watchers.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not perfect.
No, he's not.
40.7% from the line. Inexcusable. That's bordering on unplayable. That has to get better. It just has to. Otherwise, teams are going to be able to play him off the court and totally take out the offensive flow. Also, some inconsistency with the hands. I think when it's high and above his shoulders, I think the hands are fine.
Yes.
Anything low though, that's where he really starts to struggle with
the range of. Yes, that's a good one. I didn't think the range of motion bothers me sometimes because he gets some bullet passes up high, and you're like, oh, he's got good hands. Then you're like, wait, fumble
pocket pass that he's kicking into the third row.
Yep.
So two really important things that he has to clean up, has to get better.
Very big, important things.
So just so everyone's clear that I'm not going totally homer mode.
I still go in my 20s, but I just say like I could see NBA teams being like, "We're going to take Mara at 13."
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on these guys? You want to about Burries real quick?
No. Burries, I love. Look, you got to talk to me about Dame stuff.
I'm not the guy to do it.
Okay, well, we don't have to do that. I don't. I'll be the prick. I don't have him in my top 60.
I believe I dropped him out of mine as well.
Duke fans love you, especially this year after dealing with your rivals. It's just not there yet.
Yeah,
he could get back up in a hurry. I'll say that. And I never doubt John Shire and that development. I've been fooled too many times. Not fooled, but I've been surprised by some second half surge. It's just the offense is not there, I feel like, and then the defense is, Duke's having to figure out different lineups. So I think Dame's still a fun talent, but I just don't see it right now.
I'm exactly in the same boat.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's jump to 31 through 40. We'll cruise through these a little faster.
Yeah.
31, JT Toppin, forward at Texas Tech. 32, Malik Thomas, guard at Arkansas. 33, Henry Vasar, center at North Carolina. 34, Billy Richmond, guard wing at Arkansas. 35, Tyler Tanner, point guard at Vanderbilt. 36, Terrace Reed, center at UConn. 37, Flory Badunga, center at Kansas. 38, Zuby Ejiofor, center at St. John's. 39, Dalen Swain, wing at Texas. And 40, Tahad Pettiford, guard at Auburn.
This is a stretch here, Metcalf. What are you thinking?
I would expect this to probably be the last time Tahad Pettiford's in the top 60. Just a shame how that season's gone for him and Auburn at large. Excited to see where he transfers and lights it up next year because he's too good of a player for the numbers that he's posting.
Go to
this
Michigan.
Year. And St. John's.
Yeah, Corey's already starting that campaign. I don't think anybody's gonna have a chance if Corey gets enough momentum with that.
Everyone knows my love for Henry Vasar. He should be higher. Flat out. Talk to me about Tyler Tanner.
Let's talk about Tyler Tanner. You know what, Metcalf? Let's have the Tylers talk about Tyler. First of all, as you know, as a Tyler, I know you could speak of this. I'm very proud to see a prospect generating buzz by the name of Tyler. On a serious note, I'm rooting for him. I'm all in rooting for him because it would be awesome if someone can break the undersized guard mold. I have 3,000 doubts and questions and stuff, but then every time I turn on the film, I leave and I go, Tyler Tanner rocks.
Yeah.
So like this kid plays like he's 7 foot. He's a bullet on the court. He is so quick.
Yeah.
It's not just like your typical, undersized guard. He's quick. No, Tyler Tanner has got turbo boosts on top of the turbo boost. Like he is so fast. He could just blow by you quick. Look, I just had his recent splits. He's just cooking 19.5, 7.3 assists and 2.9 steals in his last 7 games on 51, 31, 86. The 3-point shot is the big one. If he's going to have a shot to really stick and really play at 6 foot, I hope he's 6 foot. He's going to have to shoot the crap out of the ball. But he's good. He plays and he has. I know he has been. I'm just saying you're going to have to do it all the time. You're going to have to shoot it. What?
Just every night.
You got to be efficient. You know, Fred VanVleet always said, like, you're going to be an undersized guard in this league. You've got to be an unbelievable shooter. But man, like the hands, his film defensively is just like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And he's
like, why couldn't it work?
And
Jose Alvarado
rate over 4.
money. Yeah.
The scoring efficiencies off the charts, the playmaking volume and efficiencies off the charts. And I'm not talking about the raw 4.8 assists a game. I'm talking about the plus 30 assist rate and the sub 15 turnover rate. He's a guy that I still need to do a lot more work on. But I'll throw this question to you.
Yes.
What makes him different than Kyra Lewis?
I
know Kyra had the knee injury, but
Tyler's burst is way like. Look, I love Kyra Lewis. It's probably
people are describing Kyra as like John
I know,
Wall.
But this one's like 5th gear right away. It is. It's just there's too many times where I'm like, oh, he's not gonna get by him, and he just like gosh, it's the Roadrunner with Wild Coyote. He just always is getting away somehow. And look, Jose Alvarado. Why can't he be Jose Alvarado?
Are you taking that guy top 10?
No.
Okay.
Look, I've got Tyler Tanner in my early second.
Same.
If I'm a team with a couple picks and I had a very late first and I love him, why not?
Yeah.
But he's going to have to break this curse of the undersized guards. And if he does, it's going to open up a very fun world for future possibilities and headaches for scouts.
Yeah. So it's like, is he the start of a trend? Is he the exception to the rule? Is he actually an outlier to this? Because there are a lot of small guards that people are throwing in the first round. And the NBA constantly tells us what works, what doesn't, what they value, what they don't. And everything about Tyler Tanner, no matter how good he is, how impressive he is, how good the numbers are, how good the production is, how much Vanderbilt keeps winning, everything about him screams NBA teams aren't going to buy it.
I've asked around. People are like, "Hey, I like him a lot."
And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just kind of saying,
right. No, I hear you. Yeah. So don't shoot the messenger. When I asked around, people are like, "Hey, he's playing great. I love watching him. I'd love him in the second round."
Yeah.
So, like, I just threw out Jose Alvarado, which, you know, if you're a Tyler Tanner believer, you'd be like, he's got more potential than that. It's like, okay, well, this Jose Alvarado is senior at Georgia Tech. Keyword senior. 15, 3 and 4 with 2.8 steals, but he was 50 splits were 50, 39, 83. He went undrafted.
Yeah.
So and he was listed at 6 foot 179.
The year that year for
he
conference?
Was a 2-time all ACC, and yes, Metcalf, he was ACC defensive player of the year.
He was nasty that year.
And all defense. But like how impressive those numbers were. He was 6 foot 179 listed, and he went undrafted. I still think there's just always a team, though, that would look at this and be like, if it works, it's a very fun wrinkle for us. But I just think it requires the roster to take that chance. like OKC, Minnesota.
Yeah, they could use another tiny guard.
One plays defense though,
But
but you know, I don't know.
All right, let's move on. 41 through 50. Unless you had anything else in this range, you're good.
No, I still love Zuby Ejiofor, and Taylon Swain's tough one for me.
Yeah,
I love him, but he's just he's the slashing monster. Go ahead.
Okay. 41, Merez Johnson, forward center at Michigan. 42, Braden Smith, point guard at Purdue. 43, Dash Daniels, guard at Melbourne. 44, Sean Abayev, wing at Cincinnati. 45, Chase Ross, wing at Marquette. 46, Matt Abel, guard at North Carolina State. 47, Paul McNeil Jr., guard at North Carolina State. 48, Abuko Okori, guard at Stanford. 49, Andrei Stojakovic, wing at Illinois. 50, Alex Karaban, wing at UConn.
Someone on our team's getting Sean Abayev cut. So you got one more board before I start getting nasty. I get it. It's just a tough drop. But I was like, come on, guys. Sean Abayev still. I think there's some names on this board. I'm going to back up to no ceilings, guys. There's some names on this board that it's because everyone had such variance in the second round.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, well, you know, this guy's listed a bunch, but, you know, I have 5 different names from the end of my second than Metcalf has. Like, So it's just kind of wild right now. It's up in the air.
Yeah. And, you know, someone's guilty for keeping Sean Abayev on here. It's not me. I'm probably guilty for keeping Dwayne Airstone on here. So, like,
exactly. So we have our guys that were like, I'm not giving up just yet. Like, but I think there was a
after this one is like, nope, we're done.
Yeah, you got one more. And then it's like, okay, let's all talk. Gosh, how many names do we have? We had 300 names submitted. Yeah, it's a lot.
All right.
Almost 300. Talk to me about Merez Johnson and
we
why.
need to have a conversation.
Yeah, we need to talk.
Why only 41?
Because he was unranked.
Yeah, that doesn't answer my question.
And previously, when I told Daimar is the biggest jump ever, I don't count the unranks to all of a sudden being on the board. So, because sometimes unranked they're really like 65. But look, I love Merez. I get dangerous. I get in a really scary world every time I watch this film where I need to I get away from the computer and step back and be like, Tyler, calm down a little bit. You're getting a little excited. I think he rocks. I think he's fantastic. Love him in Boston.
You love anyone in Boston.
I would love a Boston big that plays tough like that. I just think this is a legit, like, he's averaging, these are of January 4th, but like 14 and 6, as you know, everybody on YouTube, shout out for watching on YouTube, but 14 and 6 with 1.3. I know you're going to give me even some more fun numbers, but like those splits, 68, 37, 81, I buy the shot from outside. I think he's going to be able to do it down the road. In 22 minutes with that roster, with Yaxel, with Mara, like if Merez doesn't have those guys around, those probably are, 16 and 9-ish?
Yeah.
With probably more blocks. And I love him. I think he's tough.
Yeah. So, and here are a few numbers.
Here we go.
This year, BPM 12.5, effective field goal rate 69.2, rebounding rates of 12.1 on offense, 17.8 on defense, block rate of 5.9, steal rate of 2.2, 70.2% on 2, 37.5% from 3, only 8 attempts. So super low volume, but I do buy the shot. 17 dunks on the year. And if you're like, wow, he is just feasting off of an incredible situation because he's playing alongside those other bigs, you're not totally wrong, but also you kind of are, because his numbers last year, at Illinois, BPM of 6.7, effective field goal rate 64.2, rebounding rates of 17.3 on offense, 22.5 on defense, 5.5 block rate, 74.2 free throw rate, 64.2 percent from 2. So they're not all that dissimilar in two very different contexts, two very different teams, two very different systems. We saw him do it do all of this again over the summer with FIBA, where he's just the ultimate energy guy and doing a little bit of everything that contributes to winning basketball. And if the concern is, well, he doesn't give you anything on offense, kind of, but he's also gotten like way more composed as a finisher in traffic with up and under moves and not just barreling his way to the rim. I buy the shot long term. I think I buy him to shoot it infinitely more than I trust Jane Quains to shoot it. Which takes me to my other really spicy hot take. What's the difference? I know there's a year gap, probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years of actual birth age because Quains was so young last year. But like when you watch Merez defend, he's 6'9", 250, sitting down in his stance, switching everything on the perimeter, sliding his feet, showing and recovering, rotating from the weak side. And all of his numbers are better than Quains's this year, last year. So what's the difference?
The early clap back will be the athleticism, which I'll be like, okay, fine. But here's my counter. I don't know how you feel about this, so you can tell me if you disagree. I think Merez has two great skills in crucial parts of a big man's game to have a long life at the NBA level. He's got good feet. Yeah. Like he's got good footwork, and with his size, he can get places quick. Like it makes him like he can get in lane and he puts a spin dribble on you, and you're like, well, a 6'9", 250 guy, you're not really doing a good job of walling that off. Like it's just so tough when he can get finishes with hand with soft touch. He's got fantastic hands.
Yeah,
he's got pillows. He gets bullet passes, and it's just like Spider-Man catching everything. And then he uses those hands because he's got fantastic touch around the basket. So it's like, hey, Merez doesn't have this athletic pop where it's like, hey, JQ gets up and gets the highlights because he's throwing down a lob and his head's, halfway at the rim. Merez finishes, though, with up and unders, reverses. He's got that touchdown. So I think
he's got some pop, too. Like,
no, but he does have
I'll agree.
Yes.
It's not to Quains's level. Like, if Quains is an A+ explosive athlete, I would say Merez is like a B+, A-.
Yeah, I like the B+. Merez has moments where all of a sudden you're like, oh, there it is. Like it's some nasty pop where he gets a little momentum and you're like, oh, okay, he can throw down. But watching his game and doing a deep dive, the defense is so much better than I wanted it to be. There's some really smart, like off-ball awareness, like quarterbacking it from, the whole defense from below, good shot blocking, good rotation stuff. Like Merez is legit. And I'm with you. I think this is a big one that's going to keep going up. And I've talked to you off air. I think Michigan has a deep run. I think that Merez Johnson buzz is going to follow with it. I think people are going to start, oh, this kid could play. Because it's not like he's a senior doing this. He's a sophomore. And I just think we fascinate with the box score numbers too much. And I'm watching Michigan. And I'm like, well, he's playing good, but it's Yoxel's night. Yoxel's putting up the big numbers. And then he's playing good the next game. And it's like, tonight's Mara. He's got, 16 and 8 with 4 blocks. And then all of a sudden Merez comes out the next game and it's like 21 and 9 with, so it's just, I'm with you. I think he needs a little bit more respect for what he's doing this year.
And just to clarify, I still have Quains higher.
Yes.
But I don't think the gap is all that drastic. And just something I would encourage people to ponder as we go forward. All right, let's wrap up this top 60 with 51 through 60. Where are we at here? 51, Alex Condon, center at Florida. 52, Caden Boozer, point guard at Duke. 53, Magoon Gwath, center at San Diego State. 54, Dwayne Aristode, wing at Arizona. 55, Carter Knox, wing at Arkansas. 56, Duke Harris, wing at Wake Forest. 57, Amari Allen, wing at Alabama. 58, Tyrone Riley, wing at San Francisco. 59, Tucker DeVries, forward at Indiana. 60, John Blackwell, guard at Wisconsin. Where do you want to go?
This is the range, if everyone's looking at it. This is the classic range of everyone. You could find someone still is holding stock on someone. You're just like, the Braveheart, hold! So there's a lot of names in here.
I'm
I
guilty.
think are Aristode.
Dwayne Aristode, I'm 1,000% guilty of. This is it though.
This is I'm with you. I got him in my mid 40s, and I'm like, this is the last dance right now, buddy. Caden Boozer, Magungwath, I think are in that combo too. There's a lot of names in this one, so it's look. I think Amari Allen's trending in the right direction. Duke Harris, I'm a big fan. But yeah, this range is always funny because it's like this is
it's going to look completely different.
There's gonna be like 10 different names and export in there. It's just funny because I think this is a good time of the year where people are like, all right, man, this is it. I can't do it anymore.
Anyone that got left off of yours that you were surprised by?
Honestly, I think a lot. Hold on. Who was my big one? If you have any names right off the bat, you go.
Yeah, Milo Susan.
Yep.
Shane Montgomery. He's a guy that I have top 40 now.
I got Montgomery at 47. I still think he's gonna be higher on NBA teams, but Dylan Mitchell, I understand. Killian Torrey of Iowa State.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Really like him.
Sergio De La Rey overseas. Yep. I really like the other Vanderbilt guys. I like Duke Miles. I like Tyler Nickel a lot. Lamar Wilkerson at Indiana is my favorite player on that team. I think he's really fun. I think he's a really good player. Kadir Copeland at NC State, really funky.
I like Copeland.
Seth Trimble. I can't quit. Those
some
those
guys
are kind of the big ones.
Right outside my top 60 that I think are trending as like, hey, they need a little bit more buzz or could end up on the next board. I think Richie Saunders starting to find his groove. I know Metcalf, you're always a big fan of his. Jaden Bradley at Arizona.
I would just like him to make a single shot that AJ passes to him.
I like Jaden Bradley of Arizona. I think he deserves a little bit more respect. I don't know if he's going to get into the top 60 next time, but I think what he's doing this year is fantastic.
Johan Grunlow is trending that direction for me. Center at Virginia. He's playing really nice.
Yeah.
Like him to get a little stronger, a little tougher, but
Silas Damari had a huge game for UConn last night. I haven't given up on that, bounce back. So we'll see. Look, this is the time of year where things start getting really interesting with conference play. So I think we'll wait and see. But there's going to be a lot of change in that next one.
And speaking of big games, Mr. Donnie Freeman had himself a game the other day for Syracuse. So hopefully he can stay healthy.
Terrified.
The defense still needs a lot of work, but he was knocking down shots, and that always covers up a lot. Okay. Got two more big segments. Stock game. We're back. New board, new stock game. If you're unfamiliar with the stock game, it is based off of the average rankings of our latest board, and then we compile a price. There's a base price of 100. So if the average ranking is 1, the price per share is $100. So Darren Peterson is the highest right now. His average ranking was 1.36, so his price per share is $73.53. We each started the year with $1,000 to use as a budget. We can buy shares. Once one of us buys a single share of a player, that player is then off limits for the next guy, and we're just trying to make as much profit in terms of guys rising or falling as we can. Try and find value early on. If the guy's not in our top 60, they are considered a penny stock, and they are $1 per share. And then the final, we can sell anytime we do one of these updates, and it's based on the current price per share. If we hold all the way through to the end of the year, the price per share is determined on their draft spot. If they withdraw and we still hold them, tough, because now they're $1, and we have to sell them at a loss or break even. Did I miss anything?
No. Every time we do this and fire it up, I always feel like I have the guys that you have, and it drives me nuts. I thought I had Josh Jefferson, so this is great. I hate my lineup every time. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so currently I have shares of Adai Mara, Henry Vasar, John Blackwell, Dalen Swain, Chris Senek, Matt Abel, Isaiah Evans, Juke Harris, Keaton Wagler, Amari Allen, Josh Jefferson, London Jemison, Eric Reeby. Rucker, you have shares of Cam Carr, Hans Steinbeck, Braylon Mullins, Ibuka Okori, Kingston Flemings, Tyler Tanner, Mario St. Supri, Milos Uzan. Your remaining potential profit, you got about 18, just under 1,900. I'm just a little over 2,100 with my current potential profit. So we're going to take care of sells first, and then we'll alternate into buys. Do you need a second?
Do I have? I've got to sell to buy something, correct?
No, so we'll just do it where we take care of all of our sells right away. But you only have $2 left. So if you're going to want to make moves,
we're only selling. You're not going to.
Yeah, no, we're
right.
only going to sell, and then we'll alternate. Then we'll do the alternating buys, and I get first buy this time. So
yeah, that is correct. I'm going to sell Hans Steinbeck. Look,
all
we've got him. Yeah, we've got him at 12. I don't know if I see a gigantic jump because it's a lot of names that would need to go down.
Okay, so you bought him at 442 a share, sold him at 791 a share, sold all 50 shares. Little profit of just under $175. Anyone else?
No.
Okay.
But hold on a sec. I'm gonna hold one more time on Cameron Carr. That's a big profit, but I maybe a little bit more, just a little bit.
Well, and I think you're kind of safe because even if he drops a little bit, I don't think it's going to be a ton.
Well, I'm looking at the names ahead of him, and I'm like, why? Like, he could climb above 2 or 3,
or yeah.
I'm hold.
Okay, I'm gonna sell quite a bit here.
Why do you have so many damn names?
Okay, Dalen Swain, really like him, but I don't know. This feels like the time to sell for now. So I'm gonna sell all 75 at 206 a share, like $80 profit. I'm going to sell Matt Abel, trending in the wrong direction for this Abel stable. Yeah. At 186 a share. Probably should have sold him last time, but was holding out for a little switch flip. Didn't happen. Chris Senek, also selling. Somehow breaking directly even on where I bought him at.
Which explains Chris Senek's year perfectly.
I'm a little afraid that he might free fall a bit here. John Blackwell.
Yeah,
I'm going to eat the loss and just liquidate. It's annoying.
All the guys, you're on a heater with your list is everyone I want.
Sold. So I lost $7 on Blackwell, but I just kind of want the cash back. London Jemison. Yeah, I'm just gonna liquidate, break even at the bought them for $1, sold them for $1. And then, oh boy.
Okay, got one. Okay, good.
All right, I'm gonna sell Juke Harris as well. Nope, wrong. Sell for 158 a share. Sell all 15 shares for 870. So I have just under $490 to work with on this round. You have just under $400 to work with. Okay, so now we'll go into buy mode. We'll alternate, and I'm just gonna go Morez Johnson.
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed I sold him. I knew that was the first pick. Whole town knew Frank.
So he's at 203 a share. I probably should just 100. Yeah, we'll go 100 shares. All right. Who do you want?
I'm gonna go. Oh my gosh, I just figured out who I wanted, and then it's not who I want, and I'm having a brain fart. Son of a gun. Give me 1 second, Metcalf.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. You know what? I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna shout out. How much money do I have?
$397.50.
I'm gonna double down on Tyler Tanner.
Okay.
I want another 40 shares.
40 equal. Where is he at? 222. Alrighty. So you still have 308. Do you want more than 40, or are you good at 40?
No, I'm good there.
Okay. I'm going to go Deshane Montgomery at $1 a share. How much money do I have? 285, 75. Yeah, we'll go 75 shares of Deshane. So you have $308.70 to work with.
I'm gonna go 50 shares of Braden Burries.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to. I was debating between him and Montgomery on that last pick. Should have gone Burries. Were you thinking Montgomery at all?
A little, yeah.
Okay.
I'm nervous that me and you are gonna be the only ones on that train, though.
No, I know Steven at least likes him.
Oh yeah, Steven does like him. Sorry, Steven. Sorry.
Okay, so you got 50 shares of Braden Burries at $278 a share. I like that a lot. His average ranking is 36. That's going to go up. I'm going to go Killian Torrey.
Oh, that was who I wanted, and I forgot. Oh, I was gonna be my first pick, and I why don't I get a notepad out?
Let's go 100 shares of Torrey.
That's why you lose every year. Gosh, dang it! Oh, just
man, he's fun.
Back and put me to bed. Oh, jeez.
His defense is insane.
So mad. Gosh. Literally saw it. I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's my first pick. I really like that. Okay. What do I have left?
You have 169.7.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna get a little aggressive. I want 30 shares of Darius Acuff.
Alrighty.
I think I'll be tapped then.
You are over.
I'm over. Okay, how about 20?
20. That works. 21, 22.
No, just go 20 and tell me how much I have left.
1990.
Son of a gun. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna re-up on Amari Allen. I currently have 250 shares of him at $1, and I want more. So at 157. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Use the right cell, Tyler. That would help life. So at 157 a share. I'll go another 50 shares. So you got 1990 to work with.
Okay, I'm gonna get this is I'm thinking with my heart, not my head. I'm gonna sell 100 shares of Cameron Carr.
Alrighty.
And everything. Oh, well, I'll wait until you go because I don't want to cheat, and then I'll tell you my next move.
1 second. So you said sell 100?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got 200 remaining. We're gonna go 100 there, 100. Just making sure. Nope. Price.
Gosh,
there.
some of you guys that are unbelievable at Excel, it's just like watching Picasso paint.
Close. There, so 100. Okay, so you had a little $364 profit on those 100 shares. So
you got Cameron. Keep up the good work.
You got 483.90 remaining.
Okay. How much do I have?
$483.90.
Oh gosh, they said I had $43. I was like, what?
There's a processing fee that I had to take out.
I can let you go. I don't want to cheat and be like, oh
no, you're good. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna re-up, and I want 40 more shares for Braylon Mullins. All in. You jerks are too low.
I have him
movement is starting.
I have him at 9.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm saying some. They're gonna be believers. I know it's coming.
Okay, so it's $7.28 a share. That leaves you with 192.70 left. Who's undervalued? I might be good. I feel like I'm forgetting someone.
I am too, and it's kind of frustrating me. I know I am. Man, I actually
I'll go Sergio De La Rey at $1.
You have son of a gun.
I'm just gonna go 15. Who are you looking at? And then I think
when you have. I was looking at Vesar, and you have him.
You have 192 left if you want to work with it.
Yeah, I'm. Let's get weird. I want to put every single penny I have on re-upping on Ubeko Corey. Okay. I'm all in on my roster. My team is on the floor. Shout out Normandale. My team's on the floor. You got more names or I guess now I'm just jacking up the roster, but I like my squad. I know I'm just having Mario Saint-Superi on my roster for vibes. I love him though, but I have a feeling he's not going to be a one and done. He's going to be a very fun second year guy though, if that's the case.
Okay, so 104 more shares of Ubeko Corey at $1.84 leaves you with $1.34.
I've never been this all in. It's unbelievable.
So let's see. You re-upped on Mullins, Corey, Tyler Tanner.
I love the guards. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to see some rise. I think these are guys that are going up a little bit. I really do.
Cameron Carr and Braylon Mullins are your biggest players.
Cameron Carr, who's 175, is one of my biggest guys. He's my muscle of this. But it's just the bigs. I think you've got most of the bigs that I like to go up a little bit. You really do have all the bigs, don't you? You have Mara?
Yeah, I have Mara.
Yeah, so you have Mara, you have Vesar. Like, those are both guys I think up. You have Josh Jefferson. Like, what do you want from me? I'm trying. You got them all. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, that's not all I got because it's time for the No Ceilings Green Room. It is the most exclusive club in niche basketball world. No more than 14 get in. Once you're in, your spot is not guaranteed, but you can be removed. Easiest way to be removed is injury. It's not our lottery rankings. It's based on vibes, production, pedigree, potential, upside, vibes. Currently in there, we have 8 guys: Koa Pete, Caleb Wilson, LeBaron Philon, Cam Carr, AJ DeBonsa, Darius Acuff, Yaxel Lundenberg, Christian Anderson. Anyone need to get removed?
Sometimes or somehow every time we do the green room and I pull up the list, I get amazed. So Phylon technically got hurt last night. It's cramping, allegedly. Do we have to wait to see if he plays the next game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think once you miss a game,
Okay.
or like it's obvious, where it's
Yep.
like, oh, he's done, type of thing.
I'm open for discussions about whoever's in.
I think I'm good.
Seems
Like-
a little harsh to jump quick. I don't like jumping off of one bad game. So
Yeah,
I'm fine.
I think we're fine. Okay. In line, Cam Boozer still. Just incredible stuff. Kingston Flemings, Thomas Houck, Keaton Wagler, Tyler Tanner, Josh Jefferson, Jay Quaintance, Henry Vasar. Anyone need to get booted from line?
Quaintance?
I'm fine with that.
Bye, JQ.
Bye.
Seems like more of a disco club type of guy too.
Maybe Vasar, but he hasn't been bad. It's just, are the vibes good enough?
I think Vasar could go to a different bar. I think he's a dive bar guy.
Yeah, he's 1,000% a dive bar guy.
You know what? He's gonna go to a bar down the street that's big, like country music. They've got a mechanical bull there. Vasar is gonna be like the 7-footer with like a cowboy hat on, getting after it. He's just not a he's not a a hip hop club guy. We all know this about him. Everybody knows this about Henry. He also might go home and just watch Stranger Things. Figure out if there's a 9th episode. There's not.
Well, he wants to see how he performed as the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, exactly. Another Henry that gets it.
Who do you want to put in the line? Who do you want to put in line?
In line. It's hard when it's just so spot on, perfect in line. In line. Metcalf, I'm struggling about in line.
I'm going to throw Morez Johnson in line.
I mean, I knew you were gonna, so I was kind of letting you just take over.
Yeah.
The problem with the vibes behind, no one's like. I'll put. You know what? I'll just Ibuko Corey.
Okay.
We're putting our guys in line. He just had a big time performance against Virginia Tech. What else do you want from the guy? Monster. Love him. So
Fair.
Wild nominations, but I love it.
Just how we thought the screen room would look. Who's getting in? Is this the time where Cam Boozer finally gets in just because there isn't a clear front runner ahead of him? Or is Tyler Tanner done enough?
I think Tyler Tanner's done a lot. He just had a big look. If we're going off recent performances, Tanner and Flemings just had the big performance against Texas Tech, hit that big shot, a couple big shots down the stretch. So vibes are really high with Kingston. Tyler Tanner just last night was the prove it game. Tyler Tanner, awesome game against Bama. Phylon left early, but still. And then I don't know. I would probably say it's got to be one of those two, I think. Boozer, we're keeping in line as long as possible.
Yeah, you hate Cam Boozer. Everyone knows
if he has
this.
like 20 and 20, I'll put Boozer. No, you know what it is? It's just going to come down to like, okay, like one of these big time games. It's like, okay, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, impress us, Cam. Like drop 40 and 20 or something, okay? Like do something unique. God. That was sarcasm if you didn't pick up.
I would say Kingston because I don't know if the vibes could get higher for him right now.
Okay.
He's cooking.
All right. Kingston Flemings. He's been there for a while. He was second in line. So, Kingston Flemings, welcome to the green room. We got 9 in. Starting to fill up.
Tanner, I feel like, has another game, and then I think he's
like
in.
one more big SEC win.
Yeah, and then I think he's in.
Yeah. Still a little bit improvement mode. Phylon got hurt. Non-con was not the most impressive, but
yeah, I mean, look, he did what a young guard's supposed to do to get himself some buzz. He was kicking the crap out of other lower competition, and then just plays, Bama and does it. So this is the story we've had with him all year. Is like keep proving it, and he keeps proving it. So they got LSU coming up. At Texas versus Florida, at Arkansas. There's your prove it.
Florida and
grounds.
Arkansas are going to be really fun.
Arkansas game will be very, very fascinating. So
yeah.
He's also on my stock game, so I'd love if he played great that game.
All right, well, that's where we're going to wrap it. Once again, he is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf at TMetcalf11. Find all our stuff, NoCeilingsNBA.com, No Ceilings YouTube, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars, all that good stuff. Until next time, see ya.